Dorothy Fenwick had been planning this trip for 2 years. Her granddaughter's wedding in Vancouver, she had the dress, she had the gift, she had the ticket printed and folded in her purse. She arrived at Toronto Pearson International Airport 3 hours early because that is what she always did. She did everything right every time. Dorothy is 72 years old. She lives in Ontario. She spent 31 years as a retired postal clerk, sorting, delivering, showing up. When she got to the CATSA security checkpoint, she put her bag on the belt, walked through the scanner, and was pulled aside. Not because she had anything dangerous, not because she did anything wrong, because she was carrying 3 prescription medications in her carry-on, the same medications she had carried on every flight for the past 6 years. And the new 2026 CATSA screening rules had changed what documentation those medications required. Nobody had told Dorothy, not her airline, not her doctor, not the pharmacy that filled the prescriptions. She missed her flight. The next available seat to Vancouver was 2 days later. The wedding ceremony happened without her in the room. Nobody warned Dorothy, not CATSA, not her airline, not her doctor, and Dorothy is not alone. Before I show you exactly what caught Dorothy off guard and what you need to check before you fly in 2026, one thing: airport rules like these change without warning, and CATSA does not send personal notifications when screening procedures are updated. Subscribe and hit the bell right now. Now let me show you what Dorothy did not know. Tell me in the comments right now. Have you flown in Canada in the past 12 months and been stopped, delayed, or questioned at security for something you did not expect? Yes or no? Drop your province below, because what this community shares shapes exactly what we cover next. Here is what changed at Canadian airports in 2026, and why it is catching seniors specifically off guard in ways that younger travelers are not experiencing. The Canadian Air Transport Security Authority, CATSA, is the federal agency responsible for airport security screening at all major Canadian airports. In 2026, CATSA updated its screening protocols in 3 specific areas that directly affect how seniors travel. These updates were published on the Transport Canada website and in CATSA's official operational guidelines, but they were not communicated directly to passengers. Airlines did not send emails. Pharmacies did not add warnings to prescription bags. Doctors did not mention it at appointments. The information exists in official documents that almost no senior traveler has ever read. The first change involves prescription medications and carry-on luggage. CATSA has always permitted prescription medications in carry-on bags in quantities exceeding the standard 100 milliliter liquid limit. That has not changed. What has changed is the documentation requirement. Under the updated 2026 protocols, CATSA officers can now request documentation for any medication that is in liquid, gel, or aerosol form, including insulin, liquid painkillers, eye drops, and nasal sprays, if the quantity exceeds 100 milliliters per container. That documentation means either the original pharmacy-labeled container showing your name and the prescribing doctor's information, or a letter from your physician on letterhead confirming the medication is prescribed and required for travel. Many seniors transfer medications into smaller travel containers to save space. That transfer removes the pharmacy label. Without the label, the officer has no way to verify the medication is prescribed. The result can be a hold, a secondary inspection, or in some cases, confiscation of the medication pending verification. Dorothy's situation happened exactly this way. Her insulin was in a travel container she had used for years. The pharmacy label was on the original bottle at home. This is what Dorothy did not know, and it cost her a seat at her granddaughter's wedding ceremony. The second change affects seniors who use mobility aids, medical devices, or implanted hardware. CATSA updated its screening guidance under the Accessible Transportation for Persons with Disabilities Regulations, the ATPDR, to require that travelers with pacemakers, implanted defibrillators, cochlear implants, insulin pumps, or other electronic medical devices carry a signed physician's letter confirming the device and its specifications. This letter should include the device name, the date of implantation or fitting, and confirmation that the device is medically necessary. Without this letter, CATSA officers may be required to conduct an extended secondary screening that can take between 15 and 45 minutes, enough to cause a missed flight for seniors with tight connection times or early departure gates. Many seniors have carried these devices for years without ever being asked for documentation. The 2026 update has made this documentation a standard expectation rather than an occasional request. Canadians who travel frequently with corporate travel support or who book through senior travel specialists are told about these documentation requirements before they arrive at the airport. Most Canadian seniors flying independently find out about them only when a CATSA officer asks a question they were not prepared to answer. Now you know before that happens. The third change is the one that most affects senior travelers specifically, and it is actually a benefit most seniors are completely unaware of. Under the CATSA Verified Traveler Program, which expanded significantly in 2026, travelers who are 75 years of age or older and who are accompanying a verified traveler, a family member with Nexus, Global Entry, or other approved credential, do not need to remove shoes, belts, or jackets at security screening. They can keep laptops and large electronics in their carry-on bags. This applies at 6 major Canadian international airports: Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, Winnipeg, Toronto Pearson, and Montreal Trudeau. A senior traveling with an adult child or grandchild who holds a Nexus card qualifies for this benefit automatically by accompanying that verified traveler through the appropriate screening lane. No separate registration required, no fee, no application, simply traveling with the right person in the right lane. Most seniors and most families have no idea this benefit exists. They are waiting in the general lane, removing their shoes, pulling out their laptops, and going through the full standard screening, when the simplified process was available to them the entire time. Now here's the part most coverage completely misses, and this one involves Transport Canada, not CATSA. There is a travel insurance connection that directly affects Canadian seniors flying in 2026 that almost nobody is talking about. Many Canadian seniors carry provincial health insurance and assume they are covered for medical emergencies when flying within Canada or internationally. What most seniors do not know is that provincial health insurance coverage for out-of-province medical emergencies is extremely limited, and in some cases has been reduced further by provincial budget decisions in 2025 and 2026. Ontario Health Insurance Plan, OHIP, covers very little outside Ontario. British Columbia's Medical Services Plan covers a limited per-day hospital rate for out-of-province emergencies, currently 35 Canadian dollars per day, compared to actual hospital costs that can reach several $1,000s per day. A senior who has a cardiac event at Vancouver International Airport or a fall on the jetway in Calgary and is taken to a local hospital can face out-of-pocket costs of between $10,000 and $100,000 if they are relying solely on their provincial health card and have no supplementary travel insurance. This is not a new problem, but CATSA's updated 2026 rules, particularly the extended secondary screenings that can cause significant physical stress for senior travelers, make the health emergency risk more relevant than ever. A 45-minute secondary screening is stressful. Stress triggers cardiac events, and a cardiac event at an airport outside your home province without travel insurance is a financial emergency that can permanently alter a retirement. Dorothy had no idea this connection existed either. She did not have travel insurance for what she thought was a domestic trip. Most seniors never think about travel insurance for flights within Canada. Most have never calculated what a single emergency room visit in another province actually costs out of pocket. Did you know that your provincial health card provides almost no financial coverage for a medical emergency at an airport or hospital outside your home province? Drop your answer below right now. I want to know how many people watching this had no idea their provincial coverage was this limited outside their own province. Dorothy eventually made it to Vancouver. She took a train. It took 22 hours. She arrived the morning after the ceremony and spent the reception with her granddaughter, who had saved a piece of wedding cake and placed it on the table for her. Dorothy contacted CATSA after returning home. She filed a complaint through the Canadian Transportation Agency's accessibility process. It took 11 weeks to receive a formal response acknowledging the screening officer had not followed the standard accessible travel notification protocol. It did not give Dorothy back the seat she had in row 14 on flight AC-116 on the morning of her granddaughter's wedding. If Dorothy had known about the medication labeling requirement before she packed, none of that would have happened. That is the entire point of this video. 3 steps you can complete before your next flight. Step 1. If you carry any prescription medication in liquid, gel, or aerosol form in your carry-on, make sure it is in its original pharmacy-labeled container with your name and prescribing doctor's information visible. If you use a travel container, keep a photocopy of the original prescription label folded inside your carry-on. If any individual container exceeds 100 milliliters, carry a signed letter from your physician on letterhead confirming the medication is prescribed and required for travel. This step takes one conversation with your pharmacy or doctor and costs nothing. Step 2. If you have a pacemaker, implanted defibrillator, cochlear implant, insulin pump, or any other electronic or implanted medical device, ask your physician at your next appointment to provide a travel letter on letterhead confirming the device name, the date of implantation, and that it is medically necessary. Keep that letter in your carry-on for every flight. If you are flying with a family member who holds a Nexus card, contact CATSA directly by phone before your trip to confirm which screening lanes at your departure airport support the Verified Traveler program for accompanying seniors 75 and over. Step 3. Before any flight outside your home province, contact your provincial health insurer by phone and ask one specific question. What is the maximum daily benefit my provincial plan pays for hospital care in another Canadian province? Write the number down. If it is under $500 per day, and in most provinces it is dramatically lower than that, consider whether supplemental travel insurance is worth the cost of your trip. For seniors over 65, basic travel medical insurance for domestic Canadian travel typically costs between $30 and $80 per trip, depending on the insurer and your health profile. That is a small number compared to what a single unplanned emergency room visit costs without it. One more thing before we close. No government agency, not CATSA, not Transport Canada, not the Canadian Transportation Agency, will ever call you demanding a fee to expedite your security screening. They will never text you asking you to submit medical documentation by clicking a link. They will never ask for your credit card number to register you for the Verified Traveler program. If you receive any contact like that, hang up immediately and call CATSA directly at the number listed on the official CATSA website. Real government travel programs do not call with fees or urgent demands. What surprised you most in this video? Was it the medication labeling rule, the provincial health coverage gap, or the Verified Traveler benefit that seniors 75 and over can access for free? Drop your answer and your province in the comments right now. I read every single one. And if this video helped you, hit the like button right now, 1 second. It is the only way this reaches the next Canadian senior who is packing for a flight without knowing what CATSA is going to ask them at the checkpoint. Dorothy's story is not unusual. It happens to Canadian senior travelers at airports across the country every single week. The only difference between Dorothy and someone who gets through security without incident is knowing the documentation requirements before the carry-on bag is packed. You now know. Share this with someone you love who is planning to fly in 2026 before they find out at the CATSA checkpoint that the rules changed and nobody told them. I am Henry Jaden. Take care of yourself.